If we could talk to the animals, learn all their languages, maybe take an animal degree. If I conferred with our furry friends, man to animal, think of the amazing repartee. If I could walk with the animals, talk with the animals, grunt and squeak and squawk with the animals, and they could talk to me.
Hello and welcome to Pet Watch, a monthly program about the Williamson County Animal Control and Adoption Center. We're glad to have you with us this month. And our episode today, our guest will be Laura Chavarria, again, our director, and we have some great things to report about successes and progress being made at the shelter. Laura, after you came on board, which was just barely 2 months ago, we received word the first week of August that we'd been selected as top dog by Nashville Paw magazine, which people aren't familiar is a magazine developed in Nashville and printed about the Middle Tennessee area. It does everything to do with pets, and they have a contest once a year about top animal services, and we received the top animal control facility. And I know you have only been here 2 months, but it sure is nice to inherit that legacy, is it not?
Doug, the prior director, definitely set me up to succeed, and I think it all goes back to the volunteers and the hard work of the staff last year, and that's why they got voted top dog, but it's definitely because of them.
Well, it's great. Animal control facilities are often in the news for negative reasons, and we're awfully glad that ours is in it for positive reasons.
Absolutely.
And that is our goal, to be a positive force in the community and to let people know that the whole community works better if everybody complies with all the animal control laws. But we'll take it, and we have a little sign at the shelter that says we won Top Choice Award for Best Animal Control Facility, and I believe it'll be in a future issue of Nashville Paw, but right now it's just on their website and their Facebook page.
Yes.
But they're a great magazine, and we like them, and they like us, and we like to share with some of their events that they have and that kind of thing. So if all our pet lovers out there might want to pick up a copy of Nashville Paw or go on their website. I believe you can read the whole magazine on the website.
Yes.
So we're excited about that, and we wanted to start the show off with a little pat on the back for ourselves. So we have also got a new staff veterinarian at our animal control facility in Franklin.
Yes.
Our viewers may not know that we have a full-time vet in the building on staff. Now tell us about our new veterinarian. Her name is Deborah Birch.
Yes, our new vet is Dr. Deborah Birch. She actually lives in Franklin, so she's a Williamson County resident. She worked 8 years at Hermitage, which is a private clinic in Nashville. Wonderful with surgeries, very quick, very passionate about the animals, very good at working with customer service and explaining what's going on with the animal to the customer. She did start on Monday, so she is fairly new. I'm not the rookie anymore, so that's good. But she's been doing great. She's really hit the ground running, and we're really, really happy to have her in the shelter. And she does the low-cost spay and neuters. That we have that spay and neuter program, so she does those surgeries, as well as the in-house animals that are being adopted. So she's got a full plate, but it looks like she's being able to handle it, and she's doing fantastic.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Now, she went to NC State.
Yes.
College of Veterinary. I think she went to undergrad and their College of Veterinary Medicine. So she's from North Carolina, and we're awfully glad to have her. You mentioned the spay-neuter program. There are really two prongs to the spay-neuter issue. One is that every animal that is adopted from us is spayed or neutered if they're old enough.
Yes.
And if they're not, for instance, kittens sometimes are adopted before they're 4 months of age, which is the earliest they can be spayed or neutered. Now, in those cases, if we can't send the animal out with the prior spay and neuter, what do we do there?
The animal goes home, but we take a sterilization deposit to ensure that the animal is going to come back. So we set up an appointment that's when they're of age. If the person doesn't show up, we call them and continue to follow up with them to ensure that it gets spayed or neutered.
Okay, so their incentive is to bring the animal back, to receive back their deposit.
Yes.
And therefore it is part of the adoption process.
Yes.
And that happens a lot more with kittens, I think, than anything
puppies.
else, because kittens are so appealing. And we do have a huge cat population at the shelter. Spring and summer are always what we call cat season. The other prong of the spay-neuter program you mentioned is that our facility participates in a free spay-neuter program for the public
Yes.
for their animals which did not come from our shelter. So if you have a family pet at home that has not been spayed or neutered, you can call Animal Control and ask about our free spay-neuter program. Now, there is an income requirement.
Yes, there's an income requirement as well as how many people live in your household. So it just depends on how many people live there and what your income is. There's guidelines that there has to be followed, but if you call our shelter, they'll go through the guidelines to make sure that you meet it, and then we would schedule you an appointment.
Right, and the basic guideline is if your household makes $55,000 or less, you can get your animal spayed or neutered regardless of its age and regardless of where it came from. It does not have to come from our shelter, and you simply make an appointment and qualify over the phone to participate in the program and bring your pet in one morning and pick it up that afternoon.
Yes.
And it really makes a difference.
It does. Spaying and neutering, I mean, makes such a huge impact, and hopefully in the future it cuts down on how many animals come into the shelter.
Right, and I think cats reproduce at an even higher rate than dogs, and the figures like 700,000 cats can result in 7 years from from an unsterilized male and unsterilized female and all their offspring. 700,000 is an amazing number, and it's true.
It is.
It's like a genealogy chart. You know, everybody has 16 great grandparents, and that's kind of what you need to think of it in reverse. They're all going to have 7 kittens, and those 7 are going to have 7, and so on. So to stop the cycle is so important.
It is.
Plus, it's better for the animal.
It is, yeah, health-wise, especially sterilizing males. We see a lot of testicular cancer, so getting them sterilized really takes that down to 0. So.
And it cuts their desire to roam if you are in violation of our leash laws and don't restrain your pet to your property. An unneutered male is out and abroad.
Yeah, and on the other side of that, you could have an unsterilized female that's attracting unwanted animals.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's important for us to take that responsibility as pet owners. So it's one of the things we try to educate people on. Now at the shelter, we've been doing some internal improvements and some sprucing up. I know we have received 2 new dog kennels recently that were installed in our dog kennel area to try a different kind of aluminum door rather than a fencing, and that's working out great. I think people love those, so maybe in the future we can get some more of those, and some beautiful new portable stainless steel cat.
Yes, those are gorgeous.
Yeah, they're in our lobby, aren't they?
Yeah. They provide enrichment for the cats so they can jump around and just show off their personality and make them more adoptable.
Right. They have like a play tower or that can be sanitized inside. And I was intrigued by the fact that the new cat kennels have the litter box through a separate hole in the center, which is great because that way the cats don't knock it over.
It's more sanitary.
It's more sanitary, right. Right. It's amazing.
Easier for staff.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know that we're looking at things like that because it would cut down on the transmission of normal illnesses that cats get and tend to transmit from cage to cage, and we try to cut that down as much as we can. And I'm sure that's part of what Dr. Birch will be doing is overall shelter health. Because no matter how hard we try, sometimes we have an animal come in with something that we're not aware of. And our goal is to keep that from spreading to anybody else.
Absolutely.
What are some of the other things we've implemented at the shelter recently?
We've implemented a new foster program. We have Amber Mears, who's our rescue wagon coordinator and foster coordinator, who's actually putting together basically an educational pamphlet for our fosters to follow procedurally and to promote fostering. We really need to beef up our foster program. Space is limited, as you know, at the shelter, so we really need to get people on board to help us get the animals out. Sometimes they need to be fostered because they need to be socialized for health reasons, or maybe they've been at the shelter for a couple months and they just need to get out and be in a family home environment. So we definitely need to beef up our foster program. So Amber's taken that on, and she's going through and actually putting procedures like, if this were to happen, this is what you need to do to make it easier for the fosters. And
it helps when they're adopted.
Absolutely.
I know recently you were talking about the adjustment period that a family can go through when they adopt a pet.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about what should your mindset be if you adopt, especially a dog. And a number of our animals, dogs and cats, have been at the facility for more than 30 days.
Yes.
The majority have. And in fact, we just had one that was there 8 months. That
Melanie.
was Melanie.
Yeah.
And she was a deaf dog who, and it just took a little while to find her forever home.
Yeah, you need to find the perfect match, somebody that's willing to take her on because she has special needs, and something that fits her needs as well. So it took us about 8 months. The volunteers worked diligently. She was a shelter favorite. It was sad to see her go, but it was a perfect fit, and like you said, she was there for 8 months.
But other dogs that don't have special needs are also, they're hindered socially
Yes.
a little bit by being in the shelter, so if we can shorten the time that they're there.
Yes.
And
So the transition period basically is around 90 days. So if you adopt a dog, some people think that they adopt them and they should know how to sit and shake and be potty trained, but like you mentioned, some of the animals have been there for more than 30 days, so there is going to be a transition period where they may need some sprucing up with their potty training. I definitely promote crate training because they're used to being in a kennel and it's their sanctuary. A lot of people will adopt an animal, go out to get groceries, and leave it loose in their house, and crate training prevents them from chewing up your favorite couch, chewing up your shoes. It makes a safe environment for them as well as your house and your items.
Right, and they're not used to exploring spaces, and they're not used to the smells, the sights,
Yes.
the sounds of a home. They don't know that they're not supposed to get things off of the counter or whatever. It's just sheer logic. It's like if
Yes.
someone else's child comes to stay at your house and you don't have any small children, you change the way that you handle
Absolutely.
things. You watch the cabinets, you watch the, and it's the same way with the dog. And there's nothing sadder than someone adopting a dog and expecting it to be, just sunshine and roses from day one. There will be an adjustment period.
Yeah.
And I think we usually find out that they're lap dogs. Most of
Yeah.
ours are lap dogs when they get home.
Yeah.
The only playtime they have at the shelter is provided by our volunteers.
Yes.
3 or 4 times a day.
I believe it's around 3. We do have some volunteers that come in and they just try to spend 15, 20 minutes with each animal outside, and they walk them. Some of them will work on hand signals. They go above and beyond, teach them how to sit, how to shake. So sometimes the longer the animal's there, the more training they get. But it just depends on how often the volunteer spends with them and walks them and gets them out.
And that's just one of the jobs that our volunteers can do is walk dogs. We have dogs that need a bath, and we have a nice doggy sink, which has a walk-up ramp, and animals need to be clean and to be adoptable. They need to be
Yes.
appealing, and they're much happier when they are. It takes a village to take care of these
It does.
animals, and as soon as they go out the door, more come in. So we encourage everybody to take care of their animals so that they don't end up at the shelter, especially strays. Strays aren't really necessary. There shouldn't be a lot of calls every day, but there are about dogs roaming. It's probably the most common call
Yes.
that our animal control officers get.
Yep, to patrol for a stray animal, and 9 times out of 10 we end up finding it, the animal, which is a blessing to get it off the streets. But like you had mentioned, there really is no need to have a stray animal. Animal should be collared, leashed, identification, microchipped. We need to take every avenue to make sure that the animals don't become strays.
So when they come in the back door, every time I'm at the shelter, I see some family pet that has gotten loose and been brought into the shelter. And how long do we keep a family, a stray?
7 days.
7 days?
Yeah, the law
Okay.
requires us to hold them for 7 days to give their family a chance to come claim them. After 7 days, they're tested behaviorally to see if they go up for adoption. So it's 7 days that they're back there, which is pretty rough on them.
Well, yeah, because they're used to being at home.
Yeah.
And suddenly they're in a kennel
Yeah.
with a lot of other barking dogs. So
It's stressful.
Please keep your animals. And it also costs a lot of money for the taxpayers, because when they come
Yes.
through the door, and we immediately give them a rabies vaccination and other shots to prevent disease, because we don't have the ability to know what they've had.
Correct.
Right. Okay, well, thank you, Laura.
Thank
We're
you.
going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back and talk about some of the upcoming events at Williamson County Animal Control and Adoption. and welcome back to Pet Watch. My guest Laura Chavarria is continuing with me for this segment. She's the director at Williamson County Animal Control and Adoption Center. And in addition to all the shelter, day-to-day shelter activities, which are numerous, it's an active place and we're constantly busy. And we do adoptions every day, starting at 10 a.m. at our facility. But a number of things that we do are outreach in some way into the community. And one of those that you've instituted recently was allowing other local rescue groups to adopt from our facility for no cost.
Yes.
In the past, how is a rescue group, which there are numerous rescue groups, by the way, that we love and adore, and if they have a place for an animal, we're more than willing to let them have them. But to charge them a fee, you were kind of reconsidering whether that made sense or not.
Yes,
so,
I think in the past they were charging a fee to kind of recoup the cost with maintaining an animal and having it at the shelter for 7 days. But I think they're doing us a favor by taking the animal and getting it rehomed. That frees up space. Also, by getting it out of the shelter, it has less chance of getting ill. You mentioned that, in the shelter we have disease prevention, so they're doing us a favor. So I wanted to see in the next 90 days to see if the no-cost rescue fees would be helpful, and people have just really stepped up to the plate. Space is always a constraint, and I got numerous emails, phone calls from people saying, hey, I want to come tour the facility, I want to meet you. I mean, it was just great community outreach. They do so much for us, so, I mean, it's amazing.
And that goes through October
Yes.
31st.
Yes.
I guess that's Halloween, a 3-month trial period of 90 days. And since you are seeing successes, we're kind of trying to track that.
Yes.
Are we not, to see if we might be able to make this a policy in the future. It helps everybody all around.
Yes.
If you go to any of the outside adoption events in the community, which we participate in from time to time, there are so many wonderful rescue groups out there. There seems like there's one for every breed of dog.
Yes, there is.
And that's great. Animal lovers put their money and their time in many different organizations and many different ways. And the more we can intertwine with those, the better.
We're all on the same side, working for the same, the same program.
Right. And when we see animals come in, if it's a specific breed, it looks like it's predominantly a dachshund or a greyhound or whatever, we have those groups' names on file.
Yes, we do. We're lucky enough to have a list so that if something comes in, like you said, if it's breed specific, we will contact them. And actually, about a week ago, I started the policy where every animal that comes in will be photographed so that we have them on file, the photo, we can email it to the rescue so they can actually see the animal without having to come down and view it. A lot of the rescues aren't within Williamson County. Some of them are from Davidson County. So taking that picture really helps bridge that gap.
And some of them, believe it or not, are out of state. We've had a senior dog go to live on a farm in Missouri before, and that was a nonprofit group that had a farm for what they considered special needs or senior animals, and it was quite a menagerie. I believe she had everything from alpacas to horses to dogs to cats to whatever, and they live out their life on this wonderful farm. So there are a lot of great people out there with great ideas that we just need. The more ideas people have for finding homes for animals, the happier we are and the happier the animals are. Our shelter has its own little group that supports us, Williamson Animal Services, Inc., which is a 501(c) not-for-profit that was developed several years ago to support the county shelter.
Yes.
Now tell us some of the things that Williamson Animal Services does for us.
I call them our sister agency just because we meet with them on a weekly basis. They are our backbone. Recently, in the past 3 days, including today, they donated $5,000 to put in sun tunnels into the agency, which sun tunnels are basically a lighting system to make the animals more adoptable and socialized. So that's getting done today.
Is that sort of like a skylight?
Pretty much, yes.
But concentrated through a tube?
Yes, it's reflective.
Okay, which areas are we putting those in at the shelter?
Dog adoptions.
Okay.
Kitten adoptions. The cat room already has the sun porch, so that already has sun. And cat impound. So pretty much almost every room is going to have the sun tunnels, which is amazing. We couldn't have done that on our own, so we're very appreciative of that. They also have committees, so they have fundraising committees. They have operation committees, so we bounce ideas off of each other on a weekly basis. So it's nice to have that sounding board, and they are so creative that they can come up with ideas to benefit the shelter. They have donated so many things in the past, cages, crates, kennels. I think they donated for some cat kennels that were in
Right.
cat adoption. So,
And
I mean,
last year they donated air conditioning, extra
Yes.
air conditioning, portable air conditioners for when we had a large intake seizure of animals in the county, and we had to expand the air conditioned area. WAS came forward and provided that so we could climatize an area that hadn't previously been climatized. It was more of a storage area, so we thank them for that. And also, we had opportunity coming up to transport a large number of animals in the month of October to one location in another state.
yes.
But to do that, there's a transportation cost.
Yes.
And WAS is trying to collect the funds to make that happen. So if any of our viewers would like to make a donation to WAS for that October pet transport, is that dogs or cats?
It's 32 cats that we're trying to get out. And you mentioned earlier that we are so full with cats, so this is something that we really want to happen. It's $100 per cat, so it really adds up when you want to do 32. So if people are interested in donating, they can do it on our website or on WAS's website.
And assure our viewers that there are states where there are not adoptable animals available because they have stricter spay and neuter laws.
Yes.
And they have stricter fines. So they actually have a shortage. We've been sending our dogs to, I believe,
Wisconsin.
through the PetSmart Charities program. But this opportunity is for cats.
Yes.
And it's hard to imagine, but it's more than takes a village. It takes the whole country. And pets are being transported daily by people who care, who pay for those transportation services. So
Yes.
if someone would like to contribute, they can go on WilliamsonAnimalServices.com or the county website.
Yes.
And hit make a donation. And we would appreciate that, and so would WAS. They're coordinating this pet move, the cat move in October, and it really makes a whole world of difference to get 32 cats new homes.
That frees up so much space to be able to get 32 more cats adopted. It's amazing. It's a never-ending cycle, and like you said, it takes a village.
Right. And that's just a huge number. I mean, a great day for us would be a Saturday when we have 5 cat adoptions and 6 dog adoptions.
Yeah.
So to have an opportunity for 32 cats to find new homes in one swoop would be great. So if anybody would like to donate to our 501(c) Williamson Animal Services, I encourage them to friend them on Facebook or go to their website, WilliamsonAnimalServices.com. Now it's time for our fall rabies clinics. They're coming up in September, and we have 8 of them scheduled. There's 2 Saturdays in September. Our fall clinics are usually a little smaller and lesser in number than our spring clinics, and they occur at local area schools and government agencies. The first Saturday will be September 7th. We will have a $10 rabies clinic at College Grove Elementary from 9 to 10:30. And then from 1 to 3, we'll have it at 3 locations: the Fairview City Hall, the Heritage Elementary School, and Brentwood Middle School. So that's Saturday, September 7th. Then on the 14th, from 1 to 3 p.m. at all these locations: Fox's Grocery in Leapers Fork, Sunset Middle School, Fairview Elementary, and also at the Williamson County Animal Control Office. So that is right by Franklin High School. And I think it's one of the first times we've had one at our own office.
Yes, we're very excited to have it in-house. It'll be great.
Yeah, and I think when people bring their animals in, they may never have been to the animal control office before, and we'll be doing the $10 rabies shots. A person receives the rabies tag and a receipt for proof of the vaccination. And it is required by state law, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And people will say, well, we don't have rabies in this county. Well, we don't have it because we vaccinate.
Exactly.
So it is a two-edged sword, and don't let that deter you. The fact that you don't know any dogs or cats that have had rabies deter you from spending $10 to prevent it. Because it is an incurable illness, it is a transmittable illness, and it is dangerous for your other pets and people.
Yep. And $10 will take care of that.
Yeah. And if you come to one of those clinics, $10 cash is probably the best.
Yes.
Yeah. Bring a $10 bill, get it done, and each year you can come back and tell yourself, I go to the fall clinic, and they'll be back next year. And we usually publish those dates in the newspaper and on our website and through Facebook. So people can easily find where those clinics are on September 7th and 14th. I'd also like to mention a couple of other events that are coming up. These are adoption events. They're important. It's important for us to get out of the shelter and get out into the community and broaden our area of service. And one of the ways we do that is participate in local events. On September 21st, we will have a downtown Franklin event at the Anthropology store on Main Street. They have a program called Sit, Stay, and Love, which is a nationwide effort by Anthropology. They're great animal lovers at that corporation, and that event will be Saturday, September 21st from 11 to 2 at the Anthropology store. It's a great store on Main Street. If you haven't seen it, it's a lot of fun. The store is an old warehouse setting with 2-story Anthropology. It's really cool inside. And support that their efforts with animals by shopping there and coming to that adoption event September 21st downtown. It'll be our first time on Main Street, so you never know what will happen. Also on the 28th of September, we'll be at Thompson Station Annual Festival at Thompson Station Park. That is, this year it's called the Dog and Pony Show. There's an emphasis on the horse farm that's located near the park, and also on dogs, and that's because our friends at Mars Pedigree are participating in the Thompson Station Festival. That's all day on the 28th of September. It's a family event. We'll be just one of the participants. There'll be plenty for the family to do. I heard they're going to do a pumpkin chunkin contest, so but we'll be there with our mobile unit with cats and dogs to participate, and with our friends from Mars Pedigree, and we are part of their feeding program, and we so appreciate their presence in the community. I want to thank my guest, Laura Chavarria, for being here today. Thank you so much. If you'd like to become a volunteer, you can go to www.adoptwcac.org. That Adopt WCAC takes you to the county website, to all the information you need about Williamson County Animal Control and volunteering. At the top of the page, there is a volunteer online button. If you press that, it'll tell you how to get signed up for our next volunteer training class. If you're thinking of adopting a pet, you can come by our location next to Franklin High School at 106 Claude Yates Drive. We're open for adoptions Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday from 11 to 3. And there's a public dog park right behind us, so come and run your dog anytime in Maggie's Dog Park, and stop in and see what we do there at Animal Control. We'd love to see you there. Also, friend us on Facebook under Williamson County Animal Shelter, and we'll keep you up to date on great positive stories about adoptions and upcoming events. Thank you, Laura, again.
Thanks.
And thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time on Pet Watch.
If we could talk to the animals, learn all their languages, maybe take an animal degree. If I conferred with our furry friends, man to animal, think of the amazing repartee. If I could walk with the animals, talk with the animals, grunt and squeak and squawk with the animals,